Hello everyone and welcome to pros and cons of the video game Hunting the Hunter on Not Now Mom, I'm Gaming. These are short videos featuring gameplay clips or screenshots so as not to show too much in the spoiler department. Links to this review are in the description below. Let the reviewing begin. For the pros, we have comic style illustrations. I love the comic book art style with the deep shadows. It adds a touch of horror to a story that isn't all that horrendous, despite it being about a murderer. It is AI art, but I don't know. I know a lot of people hate AI and everything. As someone who writes her own blog posts, I do not like bloggers that use AI to write because it's got no humanity to the writing, basically. It's all one big script. At least I put my feelings and emotions into the shit that I write, you know? But I don't know. I don't really mind these AI comic style illustrations that this game has. Some of them don't really add up to the story, but you know. Reminiscent of scary, interesting spoken stories. I know it's AI voiced, but at least they used a pretty good one. But what I mean by this is I'll sometimes listen to Scary Interesting on YouTube or Fascinating Horror, and just listening to what's happened is what this reminds me of. Just listening to something bad happening to someone. It's not a bad thing. I mean, I guess you could compare it to audiobooks if you're reading a horror novel. I remember when I was a kid, there was this tape that I would play. It's a 2-sided tape, part 1 and part 2. And it was of a scary ghost story, and it freaked me out every time I listened to it. I don't know why I kept listening to it. I don't know the name of it. I don't think I have it anymore. But it's just one of those 2-sided tapes with a creepy story on it. Provides narration. I know that's AI narration, but at least it caters to those that have trouble reading things on a screen. Of course, even if the AI sounds pretty nice, it lacks human emotion, and that's the major problem. And now for the cons. Text voiceover glitch. During one part of the game, the voice does repeat a certain line twice and then stops reading the rest of the section. It only happened on one part, but given every other con listed for the game, it is a bit annoying.
After what felt like an eternity, Emily saw the lights of a small town in the distance. She smiled. She smiled.
Illustrations are sometimes odd. Don't get me wrong, I love the illustrations, like I said. They're very emotionally heightened images, but there's one where our main character enters a bar or something, and there's blood all over her face where it wasn't in the previous scene. Not only that, the blood still isn't there in the next scene. I don't even know where it came from. I don't know why they would have given the AI art generator even the concept of putting blood on her in the first place. In a public scene, mind you. Sections are anticlimactic. I've rolled my eyes a lot through reading the sections of this game. It's a testament to not only bad AI writing, but having a scene go somewhere without actually going anywhere. If someone had written this themselves, it could have been so much better. Hell, they could have changed it into a choose your own adventure with options to take as the story progressed. But God forbid someone actually works to make a good visual novel, right? Listen, using AI to write a story isn't a bad thing, but publishing it as a written AI script is just going to fuck you over. It's not going to be realistic enough. They should have had the AI write the story as a whole and then go in and revise it to make it sound more like a human wrote it. As it stands now, the killer isn't very scary, considering he doesn't do much with the knife he's constantly wielding. Not only that, but the random girl always gets away. And sometimes with no reason. If you're gonna capture her. Don't just, capture her and then, she gets away. Yay! More text equals smaller font size. I guess the block that the text exists in doesn't change sizes depending on the amount of text being shown. Because of that, if there's a lot of text, it shrinks down, making it harder to read. This might not be much of a problem. Again, there's a narrative we can listen to, but what of people who aren't using the narrative because they don't hear very well? Or that they don't want to listen to the AI generated voice? They're going to need to read what's on the screen themselves, and this just makes it harder, not simpler. End quit button doesn't work. It's a little ironic that it states you can either quit or restart if you want the story to go all over again. And yet when you're done, the quit button doesn't work. Instead, you'll have to restart to get to the options screen and then quit. Way too short. As mentioned before, with the sections being anticlimactic, the story could have been stretched out a lot more, or the dev could have had more stories in one. As I was progressing through the game, I knew that it would be horribly short, just from the writing itself. It's true that less is more in writing, but it goes to filler content, not the overall story. I mean, good lord, the book Amygdala is like 1,000 pages long, and it's good. And that's the end of our pros and cons review of Hunting the Hunter. Thanks for watching, everyone, and don't get in too much trouble when you say, "Not now, Mom, I'm gaming."